And there's something missing here. Where's the module? I didn't bring the module. That's awesome. It's okay. Again, the voice quality is not good, but it's fine. Okay, very good. So, what do you know about task 2 of IELTS? What do you know about essays? We call task 2 an essay. Why do we call it an essay? Okay? Why do we call it an essay? Can you tell me?
It's a discussion about a topic.
Okay, it's a discussion about a topic. Is it specific to topic?
No, it's somehow general.
General.
Yes.
Okay, it's a new claim, but I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should
Yeah.
should show our idea.
Okay.
Or maybe not.
Okay, we should talk about our ideas, right? About the topic, but I've got news. The news is the topic is not general. Okay, the main topic maybe yes, but we have a lot of keywords. We have the main idea and also other keywords that we're going to talk about. So it's not general. So what do you know?
It's literally 250 words.
Okay,
And we have
minimum, right?
Yes.
250 word minimum.
And we have 40 minutes to
Okay.
write them.
40 minutes is the recommendation, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
And we have a 5-type question.
5 types of questions. Like what?
First one, my opinion.
Okay, opinion essays.
Yes.
Very good.
Discussion.
Discussion, correct.
And cousin effect.
Cause and effect. Advantages, disadvantages. What's the number 5?
Situation, problem, solution.
Problem solution. Okay, so the cause and effect and problem solution aren't they the same? Yes, probably. How about a double question? A double question essay, right? Very good. Nice. Very good. You got a good grasp of it. So what do you think about it?
I think first important thing is about understanding the question.
Understanding the question.
Understanding the question and
Okay, very good. Yes.
select the keyword of that, and we know
Perfect. Yeah.
what.
Okay, very good. Identifying the main idea, identifying the essential keywords that limits our kind of the topic, and also we're gonna discuss our opinions, or maybe not. So it's not always about our opinions. Sometimes, if there is an opinion, say we discuss our opinion. Okay. So what do you know?
Should categorize the body paragraph and
Okay,
the summary.
very good. So you're talking about the format.
Yeah.
So there is an introduction. There's some body paragraphs ranging from
2 or 3 body.
2 to 4, 5 body paragraphs. Can we have 5 body paragraphs? Probably.
Yes, and conclusion.
Okay. So yes, usually you can see 2, 3 body paragraphs. Usually. So, and also there is a conclusion. It means you're gonna have a discussion, and you're gonna at the end you're gonna draw your own conclusion from the what? From the discussion that you had where in the bodies. Okay? Very good. What do you know?
Just say a blueprint and some ideas to support
To support your
just say
very good.
three
You should
things
mention
about-
some ideas and support them
Yeah.
with some functions.
We should have three three ideas
Yes.
and say that
3 ideas.
three ideas, yes,
Okay.
and say some supporting
Yeah.
examples in different
Okay.
paragraph to support.
So I'm not sure about 3 ideas exactly, but you know, some ideas. Yeah, and the supporting part, you're totally right. So you need to support your ideas using some functions. For example, bringing examples. Okay. For example, bringing kind of facts. You can actually support your ideas by bringing some facts, or some other functions that we're going to talk about, like a cause and effect. Okay. What do you know?
Actually, I have no clue because I just took my IELTS exam just because of testing my level.
Okay.
I don't know.
Very good. That's fine. We're going to introduce it. That's totally fine. Yes. What do you know?
I know that it's much easier than past time because you can just say other key and support that.
I didn't get it. Can you repeat it?
It's much easier than past time because you can say whatever you want to say and support it. It's about your own
Okay.
idea and
Interesting.
the fact is that you have to only show all your knowledge based on what you want to say, and that's up to you. So it makes it easier. Because
Okay.
you don't have to go on that.
Very good. So the fact that you're stating your own opinions and you're supporting based on your own words, so it makes it easier, in your opinion. So yeah, kinda it is true if you are generally a good thinker, and if you are making kind of some ideas, or yeah, you can come up with a solution. So probably yes, of course, it is. For some students, it's actually not true because they're actually struggling with the language of task 1 that we have talked about. It's a little bit kind of different and academic. So yes. Also, if you want to get a band, maybe 6 above 7 plus 7 in task 2, it kind of makes it different from only stating your opinions, but I do agree with you. So I say yes, task 2 is a bit easier because you want to talk about your own words and you follow up your own ideas. So yes.
I'm not overthinker, so it's easier.
Yeah, that is awesome. Okay. Very good. Yes, what do you know?
Plus all answer, I know we should answer all of question
Mhm.
and we don't ignore some part of the question.
Very good. That is a great tip. Okay. You don't ignore the keywords. Okay? If you ignore a keyword, it means you haven't achieved the task, right? So you're going to lose the task achievement a little bit. So be careful about all your keywords in the question. Identify them and identify the main topic. Yeah. What else? That's it. Very good. Thank you. So you talked about it.
Yes. I
Okay.
think,
Anything to add?
Yes. I think when we talk about anything in the question, when we added the new things,
Mm-hmm.
we must explain them,
Okay.
and we can't ignore them. because-
Okay. Let me make it a tip. So don't leave out an idea unsupported.
Yes.
Okay? Support all your ideas. Whatever you state, don't move on to the next kind of idea without supporting the previous one. So a lot of students just say something and then say something else, and then so without kind of support. Okay, you think that you know it, but you don't know it until you write something and someone like me gives you the feedback. So you're gonna notice that, okay, I left this idea and this idea unsupported. So yes, we're gonna work on that too. Very good tips. Yeah. Anything? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So that is great, very good that you have some essential information on the test 2. I really like it, so that makes my job so much easier. Thank you. You can study more. So we're gonna task to the introduction. It says in task 2 writing, you have to write 250 words minimum. So this is what we supposed to do. We know that. And also, it says if you write fewer than 250, you will lose your score because you will not explain your ideas very well. So, the IDP recognizes the essays less than 250 words, not explained enough, not supported enough. So, yes, this actually is kind of true. You need more than that to explain your ideas. Well, you should. It says you should need to be kind of a superhero. Try to produce a lot of good words. If you write 340 words, you are not being organized. So as I told you before, do you remember? I said, okay, humanly possible is kind of you can write maybe 340, 50 words. If you write without reviewing by the end of your task, or leave it without spell checking or something like that. So it's not only writing. You need to kind of think about it, bring your ideas on paper or whatever, and also on the screen, and then you need to write. And there is also a last stage, which is reviewing what you have written. So you need to kind of do some things, sort of things. You need to have a checklist for grammar, for kind of spelling, your sentences, your ideas. They should be organized. So if you want to write a good one, so it's around somewhere between 250 and 300, usually. I'm not saying that you're not capable of writing 500 words, but think logically. Okay. Also, the longer your essay is, the more grammar mistakes you might make, and the less time you have to write in task 1 writing, and what easier for the examiner to follow and read. The shorter essay, not a longer essay. Of course, shorter essay will make them easier to follow. So it doesn't mean you write less than 250 words, but you need to kind of keep the balance. There's no benefit to write super long essays. Task 2 is, so I'm guessing it's not your problem. Your problem usually is kind of writing less than 200. Task 2 writing is worth like 2/3 your overall score, and you spend 40 minutes on that recommended. So 2/3. So it is kind of much more important than what the task 1. So you need to devote kind of more time on it, and also, in case you kind of are not very well at some points, like speed or fluency, you need to spend more time on the task 2. In task 2 writing, we will focus on 4 types here. Okay. The 4 most common types are argument, a thesis-led, problem, solution essay, 2-part question essay. So we actually it's a little bit different organization, but it's still the same thing that we have talked about. So the language and organization are super important, and just like task 1, the organization is huge for task 1 and task 2. In task 1, I gave you the language that you need. I gave you the grammar that you need. Do you remember? I said, okay, if you want to describe the map, if you want to describe the graph, the line, you need to use this specific. So we narrowed it down. But in task 2, it's a bit different. The language and grammar you need for task 1 writing are relatively short. So for the ideas, you don't need to say kind of any words from your own kind of ideas. but in task 2 it's totally different thing. So for some people it makes it harder, for some people like her it makes it easier. So yeah, everything is available from the graph or diagram. Task 2 is definitely different. The language and grammar you need for task 2 writing are more complicated. Okay? The big thing is here to pay attention to sentence structure, decantation, contrast, and cause and effect sentences. This may lead to as a result and things like that we're going to discuss. Pay attention to the structures you have learned for task 1 writing, because you will need a lot of those structures, to be honest. Okay? So what the big deal here? The big deal is that the overall thing you need to understand is every sentence has its own purpose. This is so important. Okay? They are going to engineer your actually piece of writing. You need to plan them. You need to make sure every piece fits together, stays together, and everything is close. Okay? So we don't need a bunch of ideas that are not consistent. We need that consistency. Okay? It means if you think that this paragraph is nothing to do with the next paragraph, you're wrong. If you think that this idea is not related to the next idea, you're still wrong. So you need to keep the consistency. All the ideas are relevant. And again, you need to keep them relevant by explaining, doing different things. You can still get a higher score if you make grammar mistakes. It's okay. We're going to also talk about that. Try to be clear, be organized, be concise, shorter. You don't need to write long sentences like 2 or 3 lines. Sometimes I take a look at kind of language learners' writings and take test takers, and they're writing long sentences like 3 or 4 without any punctuation and full stops and things like that. So we don't need that. We need your sentences to be short, but at the same time grammatically complex. Okay? And and also write at least 250 words and done. Okay, very good. Now we're going to talk about most common mistakes the students make in IELTS writing task 2. Okay, so let me ask you, so you can see some of them. Are there anything that like some common mistakes that the students make, you shouldn't do in task 2? Anything? Okay, the first one is mentioned.
We should say our opinion just in the first paragraph, in the introduction. But not in the
If it's an opinion essay, right? If it's an argument. If it's an argument, yes. If it's not an argument, no. So only state your opinion when it is needed. Okay? Yes. So let's talk about the first one. It says do not use etc. and things like that in parentheses or whatsoever, the short forms when writing a list. Instead of list of examples, you should follow the pattern A and B, A, B, and C, A, B, C, and D. For example, one of the biggest problem in big cities is unemployment, crime, and pollution. There is no etc. or okay.
Is it okay? This example?
This example, yes, totally fine, yeah. But do not write something like etc. Okay? We don't need the short forms and abbreviations and things like that. ASAP and something like that. No question marks. Okay? Maybe you've heard you can write a question in an essay, but not in IELTS. Okay? Probably, maybe you're familiar with TOEFL essays or something like that back in the days. So one of the ways to start an essay was is a question. You can make a statement and ask a self-explanatory question to bring attention, but not here. Okay? So, no question mark. In your essay, do not ask the reader any questions in your essays. For example, how do you think we can solve the problem of overcrowding in cities? Okay? You're here to answer the question, not ask a question. So do not use exclamation point. So we don't need this. In Farsi we say alamat ta'ajjub. So in yours, do not yell at reader. For example, in my opinion, it's the best solution to overcrowding in cities. It's like saying something like that. So we don't need this one. This is specific symbol. Phrases like more and more, bigger and bigger, and greater are true informal. We talked about them. Only good for speaking, not good for academic writing. So, yes. So, phrases like those, we said that the language of IELTS writing is academic. Okay? Unless you're writing an informal letter for general IELTS, not for academic one. So, informal things like, writing some words and idioms, handful of idioms are formal, like on one hand or on the other hand. So this one is a formal one, but the others, they're not. For example, writing something like, pulling your leg, or some other kind of idioms, or describing your feelings with idioms. I felt over the moon, yes. In kind of story, yes, but not in an academic essay. So instead of writing more and more people are driving cars these days, you could use Turan's language in task 1 writing. This sentence like increasing number of. So more and more, increasing number of. A significantly larger number of people using cars these days. Or you can say growing increase in number of people. Or nowadays the number of people who own a car has increased. Okay? So here we use who, and it makes our sentence complex, right? We talked about relative clauses in previous sessions. Increasing number of students are going abroad for university study. The number of cities that suffer from pollution has increased tremendously in recent years. So we can use some adjectives and adverbs like significant, significantly, tremendous, tremendously, essential, essentially, okay? Some kind of adjectives and adverbs like those that we have used them in task 1 too, okay? That's much better than more and more. In addition, instead of using structures such as much more, you can say a great deal larger. So much more is a little bit informal. We don't want to use that. So we say a great deal large, sizable, significant, huge. Also something like mammoth. So sizable. Have you heard that one? Okay. So let's kind of talk about more vocabs. For learning more vocabs, you can actually dive in the books like, study the books like Essential Words for IELTS or the Vocabulary for IELTS. So those books are very good. You can also, another book is Focus on Vocabulary. There are 2 books. First one, I guess it is more common words. The next one, I guess, is more academic ones. So you can study Focus on Vocabulary. If your basics are fine, I guess you're all fine. So those 2 books are great books. Focus on Vocabulary. Okay. Do not begin sentences with and, but, and or. In speaking, we say and, but, or so, but in writing, it is not allowed. So Instead, you start with in addition, furthermore, however, since as a result. So we avoid informal language. We don't want to start our sentences with but. So that's an interesting tip. It means in formal language, you never see but with a capital letter, or and with a capital letter, or in capital letter, right? It means that we don't want to start our sentences with these words, okay? But in speaking, we always start our sentences with something and, but, or, see? So that's so different. In addition, furthermore, so we talked about, do you remember fanboys, the most
Yes.
basic connectors? We talked about fanboys, okay? We said fanboys, and each one of them has a function, okay? For, and, neither, but, or, yet, so. So if it's so, is a little bit informal. What is more formal? Instead of so, we say therefore. Okay. What else?
Hence.
Hence. Okay.
Thus.
Thus. Okay. Or something like so, which is we have a cause, and this is the result. So we say as a result. Okay. Right? Okay? Consequently, if there is a consequence. See? So, for but we say, what? However. What else? Although. Though. Nevertheless. Even though.
Nonetheless.
Despite. Nonetheless. In spite of.
It's like
There it is. So what's the difference between despite and in spite of? So what's the difference here?
After the spite of, we should use a clause. Depending.
Stop. Both of them are the same. Both of them are prepositions. Okay? Both of them are prepositions. After prepositions, we use ing form, drawn, or a noun clause. Okay? It means our sentence shouldn't have